Winter is Canada. Our mountains are our playground, and the snow is our blanket. It's not hard for us Canadians to fall in love with some type of winter sport. There's figure skating, hockey, skiing, bobsleigh, and so much more. No matter the sport, the Olympic dream for these athletes usually starts at a young age. Born and raised in Calgary, Dylan Marino's love for skiing began when he was only 3 years old. Competing for about 8 years, Marino has worked his way up to the next-gen halfpipe national team, which is just a level below the Olympic team. But it's not just his skills that have led to his success.
There is a hard selection process. You gotta have the results, you gotta have the skills set, and then you also have to have a good attitude towards skiing. The coaches have to really like you. Well, and yeah, you have to be just overall good person, good skier.
Marino has already had a successful career, placing third in the 2015 Canada Games Big Air event. He's also competed in the European Open. But Marino's hopes and dreams for the future are grander.
I definitely hope Olympics, and my parents had a big influence in that. My dad went to the Olympics for bobsleigh, so I hope to eventually follow in his footsteps and go for freestyle skiing, and maybe eventually a career in skiing, so like coaching at the end of it.
To catch Dylan on the slopes, you can go to the NORAM competitions this weekend. For many Calgarians, it will be a reminiscent of our own Winter Olympic Games held here 30 years ago. By the way, the halfpipe wasn't even here all those years ago. The freestyle event was not part of the Olympic Games back then. For State Newsfile, I'm April Zilke. More than 100 students from FFCA are participating to bring this Broadway stage musical to life. Actors, makeup artists, technicians, costume designers, and backstage crew members are all what makes this production successful. Grade 10 student Joy Adu is a company actor and a costume helper. She says that she was in last year's musical and will continue to be for her next 2 years at the school.
I love it. It's a place for me to relax and also meet new people. And it's a place that helps me forget about school and all my struggles.
Students are required to rehearse 2 hours 3 days a week, and that's without the extra days on Fridays and Saturdays that can go up to 6 hours of rehearsing. So how does that affect their schoolwork?
Come sit on the left.
Director Nathaniel Coates and Assistant Student Stage Manager Victoria Rennie explained that teachers at FFCA allow lunch and after-school help with catching up with homework.
It's made me actually be more confident with myself, so I'll raise my hand and ask questions a lot more in class. It doesn't really get in the way of my schoolwork too much. Because I've been doing this for so long, I've learned to manage it pretty well.
Planning out your days, having a really well-kept agenda and calendar.
Dancing, designing, lighting, and singing are all skills the students learn. But there are educational skills learned as well, says Rennie.
More empathetic, you're able to feel other people's feelings and know how to respond to that, which is helpful.
A weekend of beautiful singing, comedic timing, and special effects will have all these seats filled come the show dates of December 14th to 17th. For States Newsfile, I'm April Zilke. Great, and the conversation sprouted after Alberta conservationist Harvey Locke spoke out and said that it was a bad idea for the events to be in Lake Louise. Locke isn't the only environmentalist who is speaking out. Nick Pink from the Alberta Wilderness Association says it goes well beyond the well-being of the wilderness.
In our national parks, we kind of have this balancing act of trying to protect and conserve habitat and wildlife, while also wanting to, have people visit it, right? And it is important for people to visit these areas for education, for recreation, for just appreciation of what we have. But where it gets tricky is when you have too many people in the area, you start to diminish those values that we wanted to protect in the first place.
Damage to the environment is a concern to any country that is bidding or hosting the Olympics. Many have worked around it by planting double the amount of trees they demolished or acting in ways to compensate for the damage that was made. But some environmentalists say that defeats the purpose of protecting the national parks in the first place.
To say you can kind of develop a little more in Banff and then compensate for areas elsewhere, it doesn't always work that well. So I think definitely the best method, the best way to go about it is to, we set these areas aside for a reason, to protect wildlife and wilderness values, and then to continue to have strict limits on development in these areas.
The idea of using Lake Louise to host Olympic events also was floated in 2 previous bids for Calgary. Bid committees pitched the idea in the unsuccessful 1960s bid and again in the 80s before our games here. It was decided to host the events outside the national park at Nakiska instead. No decision has been made yet if Calgary will launch the bid. If we do, this issue is sure to come up again. The State men's basketball team is on fire, sitting in first in the national CCAA rankings. Overall, the team impressively holds first in points, field goals, and three-pointers per game. This suggests the offense is what is pulling them along, but guards Charlie Connor and Julian Apico say there are other aspects that contribute more.
Personally, I think our team is doing a good job, staying in shape. That's the biggest thing right now. And we still got to stay healthy, but that's another level. But right now we're just stay in shape. We get up and down the court real quickly, so we're able to put up numbers.
To be honest, I'd probably say it's like maybe half of our success. Most of our success comes about doing the defensive end. We really do take pride in our defense and just doing the little things like boxing out, making sure we have correct coverage, because those are the things that lead us to getting our points.
This is Apico's first season with the Trojans. He originally played for Briarcrest. He says his experience this season is much better than last because here at State there is stronger coaching and support. This weekend will test the team as it faces the Lethbridge Kodiaks. Last time the two played, it was a tight match. State beat the team by only 1 point.
Since we've seen them already, we kind of know what they'll be. We've also watched a couple game film of them, so we know they like to battle down inside. It definitely shouldn't be the same. We've grown a lot more from that second game of the season. It was disappointing.
The Trojans will host the Kodiaks Thursday evening here at the campus center, and then on Saturday night, they will be on Kodiaks territory, that game at 8 as well.